You are now tuned in to the War Party Paranormal Radio Show, where we will be discussing actual audio and visual clips captured during the team's investigations. Hear firsthand eyewitness accounts from fellow team members and special guests. Now smash that like, subscribe, and follow button, and let's get ready to welcome team leader and your host, Eric Vanderlaan, and tech specialist and co-host, Mike Delcoro.
Happy Monday, everybody. And everyone's like watching and thinking like, uh-oh, there's someone missing here. Yep, good old Mike. He's got under the weather, so he's going to skip out tonight, but you got yours truly tonight. So for me, Monday was hell, but it's over now. It's in the past. So now we're going to have some fun. And we have an amazing guest. And as everyone knows, we're part of the Paraflixx family, La Familia. And we like to bring in guests from Paraflixx. And we have a special guest tonight. We have Kara Phillip from Into the Obscure, a radio show on Paraflixx. And I got a little intro, and I'm going to play it. And I can't ask anyone about it, so here we go. Bam! All right, so hopefully I did a good job there. Hopefully I picked the right photos. Kara won't get upset with me. Why'd you pick that photo? But anyway, without further ado, let's welcome our guests. Bam.
Hi. Hey, no, I loved it. It was
awesome.
So cute.
Thank you. Usually, like I send it to the guests first to get their approval.
No need. It was perfect.
All your pictures are amazing, so I couldn't have done any wrong, right? And I figure if they're on your social media, then they're there for a reason. Bad pictures.
It was a fun little walk down memory lane. I like it.
Oh, awesome. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And why don't you tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you are. You're part of the Paraflixx family.
Yeah, so I'll start there. I have a talk show on Paraflixx called Into the Obscure. My co-host is Rob Johnson, and we are just about wrapping up season 3 now. We have one more interview that there's a joke about that. It's Larry Eisler, also Paraflixx family, but there's a joke that he always has to get rescheduled. And I was like, that surely won't happen this time, but I had to. So we didn't even reschedule it yet. So almost done with season 3. So we talk about, so it's a talk show. We talk about the obscure, not just ghosts, we talk about serial killers, cults, all kinds of things, but sometimes just about the people, because we're all pretty cool and fun too. So it's fun to like learn more about
each other. You definitely are, for sure. And I'll vouch for that.
Yeah. So we love just getting to hang out. And some people it's like more on topic, and some people, who knows what we even talk about. So, so just the obscure, and that's kind of all of us are anyway. And, that's kind of that. And then Rob is definitely part of my story. Otherwise, Rob has been, a paranormal investigator forever and ever. He's, all the people we talk about, like, all of the OGs, he's like, yeah, that's,
right.
That's who I hang out with, and I always say he went that work route. He focused more on like life than staying like right in the middle of all of this. So, even before I really got to be part of the community, I was already hearing, all the stories and stuff, just him talking about people he knew, and then here I am, I'm like, oh yeah. Oh, that's who that is. So, He wasn't my original co-host when it was time to find a new co-host. He had been one of my best friends for years, and kind of then how I got more immersed in the community. So it made sense that it was him. So that's
Very
how
cool.
we got that far, but our story goes back further. I can keep talking.
Well, you are a talk show host,
I know
so
I'm like ready. I could go for an hour. So, and then
I'm
our
a,
story started at Old Joliet Prison. So that's its own story.
oh, okay, very cool. And so you're also a paranormal investigator as well?
I am, but I feel like lately life is lifing,
You've
you
been
mentioned
doing a
your
lot of
Monday.
events.
Yeah, so I'm so excited that I actually in a couple weeks it's an event, but it is like to investigate. So
All
I get
right.
to do that coming up here. So that's even how the prison, being part of our story, but also that's, part of the story of I don't know if you ever had like a home, a home place, a home I hate to say a home haunt because that's literally something else, but something
A local place that you investigate?
yeah, just well, it was we
We call it a
volunteered there for
playground.
yeah.
We call it our playground.
So we volunteered there for a long time at the Old Joliet prison and cleaning it up, making it safe for guests, being able to have it open for tours. And a lot of our friends were tour guides, just kind of more daytime
Mhm.
normal stuff, guard tours. And we started with Rob, and then I was with him, were the paranormal, tours, and one of our friends, Nikki. So that's how I got to get so immersed. So we eventually, after that being our home for a long time and all the work we did, there was a purging of 14 people, between employees and volunteers, and some were banned. And so that was some of us. They ended the paranormal at the prison. That's not a thing anymore. And suddenly we were cast adrift. And so that's why I kind of say like, oh, investigating. I don't know. I was so spoiled to have, probably one of my favorite places in the world that we got to investigate all the time and be part
It's in
of and
Illinois,
share with
right?
people. It's in Illinois, so it's in Joliet, south of it's on base kind of Route 66, if that's meaningful to anybody. It's not right on, but and it is
Same Route 66 that goes all the way to California?
yeah, because it
Oh,
starts in
very cool.
Joliet's kind of the first like real stop that isn't Chicago. It starts in the city, but the first like stop to kind of see things is in Joliet.
And how did
So
you
it's
get into the paranormal?
so that's don't we all have like a haunted house growing up and a ghost growing up? So that was
I don't. Mine's the
you did
opposite. And
it?
you tell me mine and I'll tell you yours.
Okay. So
I tell
I'll
you
tell you
mine.
mine and you'll
There we
tell me
go.
yours.
There we go.
So mine, so it turns out it sounds like kind of on my mom's side of the family, everybody has some level of being able to see, hear, feel,
Mhm.
the other side. It's actually, I learned way later, we were at like a Easter, like a family holiday a couple of years ago. And somebody said just very like matter of factly, like, oh, that house was haunted, right? And somebody else, like a cousin goes, oh, well, in the hallway I saw, and it just was oddly casual. And I thought that was funny because I was like, oh, and that's why I think I never thought it was that exciting. So growing up, we moved into a house
Uh-huh.
that my parents and I lived in a condo. When I was about 2.5, we moved into a house that a man built, and it was actually
Chicago?
in south suburbs in Oak Lawn.
Okay. Okay.
So just outside of, and so it was once upon a time kind of the farming community for Chicago. And then it became the
Okay.
bedroom community. And now it's a plain old suburb. And so it was a subdivision that he built the house. It was like an old farmhouse. So
Okay.
they had one daughter. I'm an only child. So they had one daughter, and eventually Mrs. Bauer died. And their daughter still lived at home with them. And
Mhm.
when that happened, Mr. Bauer sold the house and they were moving to Arizona. So, as the story goes, they were about to sell the house to somebody else. My parents and I walked in, and he met my parents and me, and he said, I
Okay.
like you. We're going to sell the house to you. Okay, cool. I didn't remember it. I was 2.5. But once we moved in, I was in the daughter's bedroom. I do not know I don't know where Mrs. Bauer died. I don't know if it was in the hospital or in the house. Couldn't tell you.
Mhm.
And my mom would hear me. She would go to the bathroom at night down the stairs, walk past my room. She would hear somebody talking to me, and she would hear me like talking back.
Mhm.
And I, eventually I was like, you didn't do anything. You didn't, like that's no TVs were in bedrooms at that point. That was a really long time ago. That wasn't no radios or anything. And, the answer she used to give, initially she said, well, just no, dad would think I was, nuts, to say something or do
Imaginary
something.
friend.
So, and so I guess because my dad doesn't believe in any of this, there's no other side,
Still
as
doesn't?
far as he's concerned, still doesn't. So, and I told the story like that once, and my mom doesn't usually watch anything I'm on, but she did hear me tell the story once, and she goes, "No, you make it sound like I was, thought Dan was going to say something, like he was, she was like afraid of him or something." And she's like, "No, it's just, I knew it was safe. I knew it was fine. Why am I going to do anything? And like, what am I going to talk about?" Because he wouldn't believe me. He would just kind of be like, whatever. And I knew it was fine. And I was like, okay, like that. Better. That sounds nicer than just like, oh, I walked past your room. And actually, like, come to find out and talking about it, the lot used to be empty next to us. They built a house there when I was like 6, 7, 8. But she would hear on the empty lot, she would hear like in the summertime, especially like men talking. She's like they're sitting around a fire drinking and smoking, just kind of like, and she's like, I always thought that was nice. Just never, so this was normal. I guess I never knew people didn't see ghosts or talk to ghosts.
Right.
As I got older, she said something and I said, "Oh yeah, yes, of course I talked to her." Like, and I didn't think anything of it. And so I guess when I was younger, I was very, very wide open to everything. And it was just always a nice feeling. She was always wonderful, so growing up in Chicago, grew up Catholic, and I call it Chicago Catholic. I've lived in different places, and it's, religion kind of takes different shapes when you're in different places. And we definitely still, like, we have that Mississippi, roots, connection to New Orleans. It's spookier than other places. Not spookier than New Orleans, but
we have Latino Catholicism down here.
Yeah. Like it's just, you have your own brand.
All the different cultures,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, you get it. And so we grew up like, sleepovers, you played Bloody Mary, or you were too scared to, so you didn't,
Oh, hell no.
And there was, no, I didn't, but other people did, and nothing ever happened. And then there was at sleepovers, light as a feather, stiff as a board. I mean, it was probably enough fingers under the person that you could just kind of like lift them up, but still that seemed like magic. I don't know if it was like, I don't, but it was cool. We grew up with fences around cemeteries because that's what you did when you were a teenager. You would go to like drink and smoke in a cemetery, right? So we were very accustomed to and comfortable with all this stuff. It was really like normal. So, and then we have Bachelor's Grove right by us. The Bachelor's Grove is known as being like the very haunted, all these stories cemetery.
Right.
And so that was normal to go to. And that was before the coolest. I have such like a soft spot in my heart. Not so much for Bachelor's Grove, but that time in our lives before the internet, for those of us that can remember it, and you took pictures on a disposable camera and you got them developed and you didn't have any way to share them. So that's probably where I got extra interested. There was
you were raised in the same generation.
Yeah, like, so there was some books that people wrote about the hauntings in the Chicago area. There were disposable cameras and pictures that we all got the same lens flare. That's what it was. It was lens flare. Let's be honest. I found the pictures later. We got the same lens flare. Maybe some of them had something, but like, we just thought, and we're out there, and then you're smoking cigarettes because it was still cool and fine to do then, so there's just like smoking pictures, who knows what you're even getting, but it's probably nothing to do with ghosts. But it was so cool and magical, and you're hiding from police because, it's dark and it's where you're not supposed to be. It's in the Forest Preserve. So it was just like pure magic, like, was there a ghost? Sure, there were ghosts. Like I do have like stories that I remember, but or is it just so romanticized with the time? But that's when I just like fell in love with it. The books got, interesting. You wanted to read it. And we have, like everybody, we have Resurrection Mary. So just like, this woman on the side of the road that is a ghost that gets in some cars, we all have that story pretty much everywhere. So we have all these spooky stories, and it was all around me growing up. So I I grew up with a ghost. She left when I was about 13. I think Mr. Bauer died about then. I think like it really felt like I kind of saw her, like I hadn't seen her in a while. I saw her, she walked behind me, kind of like put her hands on my shoulders. It felt like she was like saying goodbye and you'll be good. You'll be fine. Like I gotta go now. It's time. And she just like walked out. And like I sat there for I don't know how long. It could have been an hour or 2 seconds. I have no idea because that was such like a tangible like experience. And I jumped up and I even like got up and looked down the stairs. And of course she wasn't there, but it was just so
And she
real.
never
like
returned after that?
never. You could tell like there was nothing left in that room. Like
no, it's funny. Like
done.
I always we do our War Party Paranormal. We're non for profit. Our main goal is that we help people. We do residential cases, and we tell people you can tell them that they don't belong here. They must go. And people are like, if we go to investigation, we tell them, you got to stay here. You can't follow us. And people think that's crazy, but that actually works.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, so in her case, like, she was always wonderful and helpful. I wish she stuck around. I actually would have said, like, no, you should
Come
probably
back.
stay. Like, come back. And honestly, the house never felt the same. It was always comfortable. It's the house I grew up in, but like, it was never that peaceful again. Never, and my parents, we remodeled the upstairs. I say I just went along for the ride. I was little. But we remodeled the upstairs and there was a night or two they stayed in my room because their room got ripped up first. So they were like, we're going to wait as long as we can before we like sleep in the kitchen. It wasn't the kitchen, it was some other room. And my mom said and that was before Mrs. Bauer left. She goes, those were the most peaceful nights I ever slept in that house. Were in your room, like for the couple of nights. I was like, yes.
She was like a protective soul. Like
yeah, she
angel, was
right. She was wonderful, like from what I could remember. And, so I always had a very positive attitude. And then even then as a teenager going out and doing this fun stuff, it was always very positive, very everything.
Right.
I moved to West Michigan for school, and West Michigan is not a spooky place. I learned then that Chicago is different from other places. They're
from South Florida.
Yeah, like it's West Michigan is the opposite of spooky. And I like spooky places better than the not spooky places. I said to someone once when we were driving in the car, I said, oh, there's no fences around the cemeteries. I just realized that. And that was after I'd been there for a while, but I was spent most of my time on a college campus. And he goes, well, why would you put fences around a cemetery? And I said, because people go and smoke and drink in them at night and you have to secure them and keep them closed. And he goes, nobody does that. That's crazy. And I was like, that's so weird. Our lives are so different. So, it's very not spooky, there's a reason I don't live there anymore. It's not delightful. So I kind of got really far away from it, but about that time is when all the TV shows started coming out, so we started to see Ghost Hunters. We started to see, a couple of years later, Ghost Adventures. And that was just an absolute like light for me because especially I'm at this non-spooky place and nobody's interested in ghosts. Nobody's going to talk about this with me. And suddenly I was like, this is amazing. And that's probably when I was like inspired to want to be eventually. I never thought I would get to like actually talk to people about ghosts publicly. Like that's crazy.
You're crazy. Yep.
I would be like, that's not a thing. But so I was like, I just was so in awe. Does it mean I watch all of them anymore? Not necessarily. It's been a long time, but
I start yelling at
them. Yeah, that's eventually.
You're doing it wrong, goddammit.
Yeah, no. So I was in love with the concept of now we can talk about this stuff. And then many years later, I came back home. Basically, I moved closer to Joliet instead of Oak Lawn. And I moved 3.5 miles away from the prison I grew up driving past and was just enchanted by.
Nice.
And I think honestly, so I'm a nurse too in real life. Like I think I'm fascinated with behind the walls.
Thank you for your service.
No, thank you. I love it. I wouldn't do anything else, but I love like things that not everybody gets to do and like places not everybody gets to go. So I think that really informs my whole life. But so I grew up, I'm just like, come on this twisty path through my life. I grew up driving past this prison.
It's almost like an escape from work, right? like
It
from
is.
maybe not from work, but just from like stresses from life.
I work in a jail now though too, but maybe I'm trying
Are
to
you
bring it all
hiring?
together. I know I love it so much.
Resident
So
paranormal investigator.
I know I love it so much there. But so we used to drive past. My mom worked in Joliet, and aforementioned being an only child, sometimes you don't want to go to daycare and you get to go to work with your mom because you just get to do these cool things.
So it's an open jail. It's still in
So
service.
no, this one isn't. So the prison,
Okay.
Old Joliet prison, decommissioned in 2002
But
completely.
you said you work in a prison.
Jail, another one close by. So
Okay,
jail
got
is
you.
pre-trial, pre-sentencing for the most part,
Okay,
and
okay,
a prison is
I
after
got
you're
you.
sentenced. So,
Hmm.
so we would drive past the,
Is
Joliet
that that
Correctional
seems
Center.
that doesn't seem like it's coincidental, right?
Yeah, no, so it's interesting. My mom always says, so the company she worked for, like, when I was five-ish, whatever, moved out here to Joliet, totally far from
Mm.
where we lived. And she went and she followed him. And she's like, imagine, like, my whole life has been informed by that, like, little twist of fate, basically. So
Right.
because the company moved out here, I would sometimes go to work with her.
Mhm.
And that was really cool that I got to do that, and spent most of the time just in an office hanging out, and I loved it. I loved, seeing all of her coworkers, and it was a really, like, so she had been there for so long. It was a wonderful environment. And so we drove past Joliet Correctional Center when it was still functioning. So this is like 90s or whatever, 80s, 90s. And so we would follow the buses like from Cook County, which is the big county, and then everybody that was being sent to DOC, Department of Corrections, so
Mhm.
that, like, prison, we'd follow the buses, not on purpose, but you just happen to be behind them, and you would watch them get out. And it was the NRC at the time, our Northern Reception Center. So in departments of corrections, you have processing places. So this was the
Right.
Northern processing. So we would see the people getting out of the buses, going through the Sally Port. Like, it was just
Mhm.
crazy. And then if you've ever seen, there's one picture, like, in that video of it, it is built like a castle of Joliet limestone, which is like
Yes, yes.
very, like, striking yellowish, like,
Gothic.
gorgeous Gothic. So
Very
it's just
inviting
like,
for me.
yeah, no, oh my God, my whole life I've been enchanted by it. So driving past it, and it's crazy. I drive past it to go to work every day. So it's right on the road. It's a road. It's a normal road people drive on. It's this maximum security prison that was functioning on one side of the road, and the annex was the other side. Like, it was just crazy to me. Like,
Mhm.
and you would see these inmates, you would see, up in the turrets, you would see the, guards holding guns. You
Right.
would see all of this, all the signs, don't pick up hitchhikers. And it was just crazy. Like, I was just like, how is this like real life right here? Like a jail or a prison,
In your
whatever,
backyard.
to be far, far away, not like this. So I always thought that was wild, and I was always enchanted. So here, fast forward many years later, because we also went at lunches, would come hang out in local parks or local libraries. And so there was a house for sale, like a couple blocks away from one of the libraries my mom would take me to, and like close to one of the awesome parks. And so I was like, I would love to live there. That's a great neighborhood. So here we are.
Right.
So now I live 3.5 miles from this prison, and eventually the DOC kept it locked down. It was, they just walked away from it, whatever. People would break in like crazy. And then there were fires in like 2012, 2013.
I got a story
And
to tell you.
those fires finally, because they couldn't put them out. It was a whole thing because nobody could get in, basically.
Mhm.
They burned for a while and really
It's
caused damage
weird
within the
how
prison.
they leave everything behind. Even like
Left it.
even
Left.
like inmate paperwork, videos,
Mhm. Oh,
everything.
yeah. All
It's
over the place.
crazy. Why
So
didn't they do
much.
that?
They just walk away. They left
Whatever
they
happened to
left keys, they left
HIPAA?
everything. Just
HIPAA,
they took the
Privacy Act.
guns. Like, the armory was empty, but like everything else just
That's
walked away.
crazy.
So, but it's still their property. So
Yeah.
obviously people were breaking in forever. So finally, about 11 years after being abandoned essentially and
Mhm.
people breaking in, there were these fires. And the city was like, oh, come on. Like, we can't just keep living like this. This is not
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
This is going badly. And the fires were really like the impetus. And then the city got a 5-year lease to try to do something. Fine. The state said, if you could do better, do better. And management was given to a local museum, for lack of a better term. And
Right.
it was suddenly just kind of opened up to like volunteer days, trades days to help, because it was just left. Like it was a mess and people were making a mess of it. So I eventually got to be part of a group then on Saturdays that would go and clean it. So that's how we like tied it all in.
I would do
And
that.
so it was, oh my God, it was like one of the better decisions of my life.
I'll have my DR60 in my back pocket.
It was, so we started just with cleaning. So you're like pulling weeds, you're doing whatever. It was, it was tough work. It was so much fun though. And eventually we got to like open up some galleries for people to go on tours, clean it up enough. And it was, I like showing up for that like first volunteer day that I thought just literally I would get inside of the walls and look around a little bit. Was probably one of the better decisions, of my life. You got some decisions that you're like, that was one of the better things I did. And I remember meeting everybody, including Rob. So now like one of my best friends and my co-host, and being like, oh my goodness, this is like a whole motley crew of people, like I don't know. Huh?
When was the prison built?
It was built in 1856 to 1858 was kind of the original like building. So 1858
that's old,
opened.
very old.
It is older than sliced bread and peanut butter. Like it is old. So yeah, no, it's amazing. Like it's I love it. So Death Row, like North Seg and Death Row, like it's a building in the middle.
I just got chills when he said that.
Yeah, it was built like the inmates kind of built themselves in basically. Like, they were like harvest that limestone in the quarries across the street and then like build it. And so it's I'm obsessed with it. It's my favorite. Death Row is my favorite of the whole place. So started volunteering, like every week you spend time with these people and they start to become like your best friends. And so we still, a lot of us, I'm going to say most, but a lot of us still volunteered in another museum now, but eventually there was like a local group that there was some questionable use of money, another paranormal investigator group, somebody kind of well known, as the story goes, she embezzled a lot of money, but I think knowing what I know about some of the people accusing her, I think maybe they embezzled some money, because if it was $30,000 that disappear, you might press charges. It's so weird how there were no. You just might. It's so weird how they did.
That's why when we do our events, we don't ask for money. What we're doing is we're raising money. The way they pay us is they give us play night for just our team to go there.
That's awesome.
That's the trade-off we want. We don't want any money.
So, well, it was supposed to be raised to go back to the prison, but my theory is that this investigator did not embezzle like they say, because if you had $30,000 missing, you might do something instead of like just discontinuing your agreement, like I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So she was out and they needed somebody else. So Rob was in, and he's just an amazing investigator, he's an amazing tour guide, whatever it is, he's like touring you around. He's just like super cool, super interested, super knowledgeable. And so he was an amazing one to lead the tour.
Mike G can juggle.
Is it the same as an embezzle?
Yeah.
No, juggling is better, objectively. So Rob was the obvious choice, and he, did amazing. And then as we kind of like, I think within a tour or two, then, Nikki and I hopped in as his co-investigators, co-leaders, however. So, but that's how I come back to. So when you have a home like that for years and you're just part of it, and suddenly you aren't anymore. That's why. So I always, the story of coming way back to the beginning, the story of like, do you get to do much investigating? And I kind of chuckle because I'm like, it's been 2 years now and I still feel like I miss home. And so anytime I get to go someplace else, it's really exciting, to investigate or whatever, but life is life and it's not home. So also at the same time, like I work more than full time. so is the life of like salary and being on call and stuff. So I work a ton.
Yeah, I
I'm
feel you
still
there.
in school. I'll be so glad when it's done, but for now it's called stupid school. And I take little breaks where I can. So
Nothing stupid.
yeah, but it's stupid right now. So it takes away from fun stuff. So I have to
Okay.
sometimes decide between
It'll
like
pay off
work
in the long run.
it will. No, work is a given. I have to choose
Right.
work, but like school or fun stuff, sometimes I want to do fun stuff. So I'm taking this like 7-week session off and cramming
Okay.
it full of the fun stuff. And but when it's
Well,
done, it'll be awesome. And I'll say it was the best thing I ever did. But right now it's stupid school. So
I got some fun stuff for you though.
what?
So we're at the halfway mark and we got to pay some bills, Kara.
Okay. Pay them.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then I got some more questions about that jail I want to ask you
Yeah.
about.
I'm here for it.
We'll go back to that. So here we go. Bam. What is up, my paranormal peeps? You may be wondering why we're holding something like these in our hand, and my buddy's going to tell you all about it.
The reason that we have this paranormal equipment in our hand is because we're giving a big shout out to the Ghost Hunter store, one of our sponsors. They're your one-stop shop for everything paranormal.
That's right, and you may have seen some of these equipment on your favorite paranormal TV shows.
Exactly, especially the Haunted Files on Paraflixx.
Mike's got that right.
All right, guys, so check them out, and if you use the code word Ghost Gone Wild,
Not Girls Gone Wild.
Ghost Gone Wild, in your checkout, you'll get a discount on your purchase. Thank you, guys.
Peace. Hi, I'm Eric, and this is Mike from War Party Paranormal Radio Show and the Haunted Files on Paraflixx. And Mike, we got something pretty cool, right?
Heck yeah. So, I want to talk about Haunted Happy Hour, spirit-infused coffee. They have many different flavors, all kinds of different stuff. They're great people. They have a podcast with great content, and they got an amazing product here. So, this one actually is Sweet Rum Bliss. And what's amazing about this, you order this product and you also get 1 month free subscription to Paraflixx. So you can watch us.
Yeah, and you might be feeling dead inside, but get caffeinated with Haunted Happy Hour.
All right.
So I just want to share some really good news that will be probably shared before. Is we are extremely honored. Haunted Happy Hour is coming out with their own blend of the Haunted Files, and we had a really fun time. They gave us a bunch of different samples, and there was a lot of them. They were all good, and it was a really hard decision. But this one is going to be a pistachio Irish whiskey. So yeah, check that out. You can go to the website hauntedhappyhourqc.com and check it out. And then I got a few more things to show, and I promise we're done and we're on the home stretch. So here we go. Bam.
Are you ready to explore the unknown?
Eventually.
Brace yourself for a journey into the supernatural. Paraflixx Paranormal Plus, your gateway to the paranormal, all-in-one streaming service. Dare to explore, dare to believe, dare to stream alone.
It does not want us here.
Sign up now and embark on a supernatural adventure like never before. Paraflixx Paranormal Plus, the universal home of paranormal.
All right, so I'm gonna bring Kara back on stage, bam, and because she's part of the Paraflixx family as well. Trying to twist my words. Get all excited sometimes when I talk about Paraflixx. But anyway, I want to let people know that we're coming out with our season finale. And that's going to be airing March 23rd at 9 p.m. on Paraflixx. And we're already filming season 4. So pretty crazy. Got a crazy
March
schedule.
23rd?
No, not March, May 23rd. I'm sorry.
I was like, that is so far away.
I know. Thanks for the correction.
Yeah. I mean, okay, but
Everyone will be like, what the heck? So anyway, I'm going to play the trailer and then we'll continue with our show. And here we go. Bam.
Located close to the Florida-Georgia line lies a relic of the past, a place where justice was served, lives were lost, and some spirits refused to move on. Oh shit. Oh. Hello. Pegged, maxed out, dude.
Let's see what you can say to us. Violence, children. Violence, a go.
Oh.
Holy moly. Dude, that's...
I don't know, that's wild. There's definitely something going on up here. I can feel it.
I just heard something out there in the hallway. I'm seeing shadows of it behind you, behind the bars.
Really?
Yes.
I heard it like somebody came up in my ear and whispered in my ear. And then I thought it was...
Then what happened?
And then I realized you were all the way over there.
Speaking of jails, oh my God, that night was crazy. First of all, this was built in the late 1800s. It was like a hanging jail. And the unique thing about this jail, like other Florida jails and probably some other ones in South Georgia, is that the sheriff's home and the jail were one same building.
That's
the other
normal.
part,
that's
right,
normal.
family and kids, and it was a hanging jail. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. And there's activity and all over the area of that building. And so okay, we're from Fort Lauderdale, so it doesn't get too cold there, but this was in an unusually cold winter.
I was like, you are
North
so
Florida.
bundled up. Like, what are you wearing?
No, it was like, actually, my daughter, she goes to Florida State University in Tallahassee, and they got snow there. She was showing pictures of her doing snow angels, but that
That's
night,
right. Yeah, you guys did. I think you got more snow down there, like, than we did this winter.
it was crazy. Like, so that night, it got down to the 20s, and like, I mean, that jail, there's no air conditioning, there's no heat. So I've been in both extremes now. I've been in the summertime where it's like, it's 90 outside, but it feels like it's 120 in there and there's no breeze. And then it was like around like 40s, 50 degrees inside the jail. And like, but it was super active. Like, I mean, shadow figures. You saw the equipment going off. It was just like, it was wild. Like, I've never experienced anything that active. And then the funny thing is, it was like around 4 o'clock when we left. So like my whole windshield is frozen. I don't have an ice scraper, so we had to sit there in 20 degrees, and we had to wait for the windshield to defrost. It took like a few, like, I don't know, like 20 minutes.
So a couple of comments. That's funny because like that's normal for us. That's why I just like pre-start my car.
Right. Well,
I don't want to scrape it. I don't want to just pre-start it from inside.
I would have known that, and I could have done that.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. Next time it's cold. Now you see like why up here, I don't think you hear like if you watch even just like social media and stuff, like talking to friends up here, everyone's just like, I can't wait to do things, because it's always just so cold, and everywhere that's like cool to investigate is probably not heated. Maybe it is. Maybe there's someplace, but it also sucks to drive there. So we just kind of shut down up here
Well, guess
for
what?
a while.
I'm working. I don't have the details yet, but it's going to be coming soon. We're going to do a Halloween ghost hunt down here. Actually, it'll
Fun.
be September, so it won't. It still be the weather will be up
Halloween.
there. It won't be that hot, but we're going to be doing one here. So if anyone wants to come down, I'll be sharing the details soon. And
Oh,
then
that's pretty
also,
cool.
I've been talking to Natalie and about doing a Paraflixx Paracon here in South Florida, like January, February, when you guys are freezing your
Oh,
asses off, and you can come here and ghost hunt and go to the beach. How about that?
that would, okay, you might get me. Like, I'm actually, usually I'm not big for like traveling for stuff because it takes me like away from life, whatever. But
No,
I'm
this would be like
actually,
vacation.
I was gonna say that's a vacation. I'm actually though in July, I'm heading to New York and Connecticut for a Paracon because I was like,
You'll
oh,
be a snowbird, a Paracon
so it'll
snowbird.
be, yeah, no, actually, like this seems reasonable. So yeah, I'd head to, Connecticut in the summer, but then to head to Florida, I might do that.
So I'm gonna set up the layout real quick.
Okay.
So it's going to be actually near Fort Lauderdale, very close to the airport. Fort
Okay, I like
Lauderdale
that.
Airport, and just down the street of the location we're going to entice people that want to gamble, and they can possibly get a free room if they gamble at the Hard Rock Casino. It's an actual. The building is shaped into an actual guitar.
Oh, that's
It's
fun.
like a skyscraper, and like lasers shoot up in the sky, like that's the neck of the guitar.
That's
So,
super fun. I probably will just pay for the room and not gamble, but like it'll
and
be
not
warm
even
and
that.
there's
If
beaches.
Yeah, and if you're not a gambler, there's stores and shops, and there's a lazy river, and there's pools, and
Oh, you had
it's like
me.
a
Oh,
resort. And
I think
then
we're gonna have to think about this.
you're like 10 minutes away from the beach. So
Yeah, we
that's what
might have
I'm
to think
working
about
on.
that. It has been a while since I've like been in Florida. So yeah, that might be pretty cool. You might have me.
Stay tuned, everybody. So, that Juliet prison. I'm very intrigued about that. So you like have you've investigated it, right? Like,
Yeah, like it's sometimes it's
how
funny to
often
like
have you
say,
think you investigated it?
so we were there. It's like I kind of call it like a summary. It's like 5 years of Saturdays. Like we were there every day. So we were
Oh,
there
sweet.
every Saturday for the most part, except when it was really cold because it gets
To the
icy and cold
point
in there.
to the point where the spirits already know you.
100%. So yeah, like that's
Awesome.
where, so I always kind of tie it back to like that. It's the Warren, also known as the Netflix concept of 28 days, of spending 28 days there, you maybe have more of a connection. So we didn't
It is.
spend
They're people,
28.
right?
Yeah, like we didn't
Their
spend,
body challenge.
yeah, we didn't spend 28 straight days. Like that would be wild, but
Right.
with all of the time there. So we
Combined.
eventually started to realize, so when you go to a jail or a prison, who does the cleaning? Who does the work? It's the
Hmm.
inmates. It's, they don't bring janitors in necessarily. Like there's maintenance,
Right,
but
right.
like to
The
really be
down
doing
and dirty.
the weeding and the ridiculous things, the
Hmm.
sweeping of the paint chips, whatever, it tends to be the trustees. So um we always felt really welcome, and in interactions we always felt, and then one day we were like, oh, because they think that we're them, like they think like we're
Right,
cleaning, this is their home and we're
right.
cleaning, we're helping, whatever. So they definitely like got really familiar. Eventually I had a guard that, it was 100%, it was a guard
Hmm.
that knew me, liked me, and at first that was like, it felt really, like it leering and icky. But then we were cool, and there's a fun
Well,
like
that's what
essay session.
I was going back to you working at a jail. You think that connection helps your connection over there with the spirits on the other side?
I think so. It's interesting. In my jail, I work primarily just in an office, in the
Okay.
administrative side primarily. And it's a newer part of the building where
Right.
I don't think any tragedy has befallen anyone, and I think if
Any interaction with inmates?
I do, yeah, not as
Okay.
much as some other people do. I think it's funny. I did kind of come in after spending all my time like in the prison. I think I had a different, even just perspective from that way. So even just walking in, to actual alive current, day inmates, I had a different attitude. I think a little bit more.
You know how to communicate with them, so you know how
Yeah,
to
maybe like a
communicate
little
with the
bit more
inmates.
like
There, it's
humans, a little less like the criminals, or whatever.
right.
I've also just at work when I worked in hospitals, we would have prison holds and things like that. So I was more familiar with the concept just anyway. But I
Hmm.
think I just have such a strong affinity for, the haunted jails and prisons and everything that when it became like real live life, there was definitely like a comfort and a closeness. I will say though,
Right.
the first time you walk through like an active carceral environment as opposed to an abandoned one, and
Uh-huh.
there's real live humans everywhere, you do it's a little jarring because you're used to it being an abandoned prison or a long vacated county jail like the one you were at in this latest episode. There's no live people, so it's a little different when it's all current. It's a different vibe,
Right.
but it's kind of jarring. But I think it certainly lended to tons of comfort. It's funny, when I interviewed via Teams because you don't go into active jails to interview, just security and
Right.
everything. You later have a background check. So this is in my background. This is like a reproduction from, so like
Oh, I like that.
inmates approaching aircraft will be shot. So that was actually all over the prison when it was
That's
in
very cool. I
action,
want
the
one.
Joliet Correctional Center. So it's a real sign, like reflective. It's a real thing. And I laughed. I was sitting down for the interview, ready to go. And then I said, "Oh my God, that's behind me." And I had to like scramble to cover it. So, you don't tell people at first when you do these interviews that like you love, abandoned jails and prisons and you ghost hunt there. Like you don't tell them that. So, and one of my nurses too, she later goes, "Yeah, I love it too. I just couldn't tell them in the interview." And
I
so like she goes, "Here's my
didn't want
pictures
them to
from
think I'm crazy.
Alcatraz." So you don't want you to like, yeah. Now I consider that like, well, because I think it is, but like a virtue. I'm like, oh, you're actually like interested, you're comfortable. This is like someplace you want to be. I consider it a good thing, but not everybody would, and you don't want to be weird. So
No, I embrace being weird. I don't mind that. I mean,
but it's an
of
interview,
course.
and an interview,
Oh,
like you got to
oh,
be very normal.
well, yeah, but I don't let them get away with it. I don't. I don't tell them about what I do in the paranormal until after they hire me.
Oh yeah, no, it's later.
And
That was
it's
weird
funny,
for
they're all into it.
people are
They
that.
start
Oh, that
telling you
was
the personal stories. My boss like had to walk in my office and shut the door because he didn't want anyone to know because he was crazy. And he's like, Eric, like I've experienced like crazy things from when I was a kid till this present day. And he's like, you're not gonna believe like what I've experienced. And like, when people need help, that's what they exactly tell me. And I'm
yeah,
like, nope,
I think you will
you're
believe
talking
it,
to the
but
right
okay.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's for me. I want, and that's probably like that even kind of coming full circle. How did I end up here? I love being the one that like one of the ones that people like get to talk, because I remember like how inspiring it was to see like the first ghost hunters early on and
Hmm.
be like, "Oh, we're talking about this now out loud. It's not
Right,
like hush,
right,
it's not, we're talking about this." And
right.
and then just from some experiences over the years, like interactions with different situations and shows, I also want it to be like an environment that people could be excited about it. We don't have to be serious about it or hush tones or
Yeah, yeah.
scowling. Like I want people to like embrace it and enjoy it and not,
Those people
not with
pioneered
fear.
the road for everything to become more open. Now, like
Mhm.
now, it's like a normal thing. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal.
So yeah, I just
I
like want to
mean,
be like that person that could help it keep staying normal, keep staying like here, yes, like tell your story. So I love that.
yeah, because like I got into it the same as you, watching all those shows, and I just like creepy stuff, mysterious
Mhm.
things of the unexplained, and I was like very skeptical, and I'm like, man, because one thing I loved in the beginning about Ghost Hunters is like they had shows where they were like, we determine this place isn't haunted.
I loved
Maybe
that.
maybe things happen here when we're not here. We're not saying it's not haunted, but we didn't pick up anything to determine it was haunted. And I love that. But
Yes.
I respected that as well. And I was like, man, I want to go. I want to go to a haunted place. I want to see if that's real.
Mhm.
And just to make it a long story real short, I started out with a team in Miami. I was all about the equipment. I was like, okay, how much going to go to the active places and set up my equipment and see what I can get. I wouldn't get shit.
Uh-huh.
So when I got with War Party Paranormal, they're very eclectic. We have a very different mixture of people, psychic mediums, a pastor, Wiccan, very diverse. And they taught me more about opening my mind. And now that
Mhm.
I open my mind, it gets stronger. And I don't know what to call it, but it's almost like I get pulled. Like when I first get to a place, I'll walk around just like to feel the vibe. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel the vibe right there. That's where we're starting. And I
Yeah.
don't know why it gets to the point where like you have your jail, but for me, I had the Gold Coast Railroad Museum. I investigated day and night for like 7 years. To the point where like I'll go in there and I'm like, what's my name? I got the spirit box
Mhm.
running, Eric. So yeah, it's like you're building relationships. People think I might be weird and crazy, but that's exactly what it is.
And we did have that in there were a lot of big tours, like celebrities would rent it, and
Hmm.
we would do bigger tours. So we would even be around to support that. And one of them, it was somebody, got out a spirit box, and we're just there to support. At that point, I kind of feel like we're almost like security, or almost, like just,
Right.
we're conduits if you need, because if the spirits know us, and got it out. And they said Rob's name, they said my name, and then Nikki, who was always with us, she was, because
Hmm.
they're funny. Like, this was in West Segregation, where it's segregation. So usually they spend more time alone. They tend to be a little bit
Right.
funnier, maybe because they're so excited to talk to somebody.
You get more
And
activity if they're having
yeah,
fun. If you're like a good group of people and you're having a good time and good
then for
vibes,
sure.
they
And
want
so
to jump in on the action.
And no, they did, and they were so excited to, like, interact and talk. And then so Nikki goes, "Well, what's my name? Like, you didn't say my name," just kind of talking.
Right.
And so Nikki's pretty short, and that's always a joke. Like, Rob will say she's fun size, like, and and then the spirit box goes short, and we all just died laughing because didn't say Nikki, said short
Well,
for
I
her
got a
name.
funny story like that to tell you. So God rest her soul, our co-founder, Scotty Marla Burns. She recently passed away, but she was our
Mm.
co-founder. And I don't know why, like she would agitate the spirits. She was like a badass. She was like probably 6'2", long redhead. She used to be a bouncer, a biker. Um, like I learned everything from her, but it was funny. We were at this haunted hotel that was built like in the early 1900s doing a spirit box session. And I go, and there was me, Scotty, and a guest. And I point to the guest and I go, what's her name? And the spirit box said her name. I go, what's my name? Eric. And I go, and I pointed to Scotty. I go, what's her name? And it goes, old. That was pretty funny.
And then
Um,
everybody laughs and everybody gets a big kick out of it. And I
yeah,
love
yeah.
those. Like, I love, like, the things that are, these are, whether it's a whole, because we could all then talk for another hour about, like, what's a ghost and what do you think this all is. But when it's just such like that human connection moment, that
Yeah, I
whatever comes
mean,
through, I think that's just the coolest, when you just have these
right.
regular conversations and
Hmm.
regular interactions, and it's not an echo, it's not a lot of things. You just know that it's somebody that actually is, like, they're hanging out and paying attention.
Yeah, if
And
you're
I
at a
love it.
jail, you don't have to like start pissing off people.
No.
I mean, they like if you're like a it's funny, like I got a perfect example. So we do interactive ghost hunting events, and we'll get different groups that will come in through the buildings. We like rotate them. We'll get one group. We're getting EVPs, the Mel meters going off, everything's happening. It's crazy. They leave. We get another group, and they're like sort of a little bit sour. And there's nothing going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about like I mean, they're people. They just if you treat them with respect, you have fun, you have a good time, you have fun with it. Most of the time, you're going to get a lot of activity. A lot
Yeah.
of it's going to be good, and there's going to be a few times where they're going to be like, they're going to tell you to fuck off. So,
And that's
are you taking
delightful.
chances? But I'm like, I welcome it. Please, can you say that again?
Yes, like that's the most delightful. No, we would always, it's almost time for the show to end. Here's me being a person watching the clock because that's what I do. But no, even my favorite is when people would come in holding all this equipment and like be scowling at it because this ghost better do something because they bought a lot of things and
And they're not going to do anything
they won't. No. And it was
on
so like
purpose.
there's one tour I remember so much, literally like these two women, they had like whole vests of everything. It's like they thought they were filming a TV show or something, and they were like angry that they weren't getting anything. And I would just like sit down as they're like staring at screens, staring at whatever. And you could just see, like you could see the shadows, you could see the things. And also I wasn't there to like make sure I saw stuff. I would all the time. But I'm like, oh man, by the end of the night, it was such an active night. If you weren't just like angry at the ghosts waiting to see something on your equipment, they literally were outside of North Sag Death Row, like the most active places outside, just mad. And like, I think they like wanted, thought they should get a refund, even like saying, oh, nothing is happening here. Nothing happens here. This is, and I just like was chuckling because I was
you
like,
know what?
yo.
I got something to tell you regarding that.
Okay.
But real quick, now I got to get real serious, and I got to
Okay.
get my compliant mode now. We do got compliance, Carrie, here. We got to follow the FTC regulations.
All right.
But now we don't, so we can do whatever we want. So I have to advise our listeners on the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network that you'll be moving on to the next show. If you want to continue and watch or listen to us, you can go to the War Party Paranormal YouTube page or War Party Paranormal Facebook page. And for those of you, and we welcome you to the show that are on YouTube and Facebook, check out KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. It's 24-hour paranormal radio. It's a variety. They have things on cryptids, on spiritualism. They have MUFON, UFOs. They have a show. Father Bishop Long, you've probably seen him on Ghost Adventures. He has a show. So check them out. And Bill, hopefully I checked off all the boxes for being in compliant for tonight. I believe I'm done. Now we can continue. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, we were going to what were we talking about? I was so focused on doing the right thing.
Yeah, no, and then I got so distracted. Oh, people like with all their equipment and want stuff to happen.
Yeah, so yeah, now
I was like, I was so distracted by this compliance thing too. I was like, all right, I'm serious.
I think I did a pretty good job.
You did.
Pretty impressed with myself. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. But anyway, enough with compliance, because that's why I got out of banking, people. I hated compliance. Held me back from sales. But anyway, I was going back to like the locations and the equipment. It's like there were nights where like we would have an event, like this is when I was early, and nothing would happen. And I would get so frustrated. I'm like, oh my God, these people are having a horrible time. But it's almost going back to at the beginning of the show when you were talking about how like those times when you were young and you were going through an like abandoned building or walking through the cemetery, things like that. Like I didn't realize, but people like nothing has to happen.
No.
Just for them to walk around in a spooky place at night in the dark is just enough. Getting paranormal activity and to show them, it's just icing on top of the cake. And I didn't realize that. So like I think that's what taught me to like it's pretty much like attracting more bees with honey. I'm just
more
having a good time and
are just so happy to go hang out in the place.
Yeah.
And so even like the event we have coming up at the old jail in Crown Point in a couple weeks, I've also spent time like helping clean there. That's also I'm just like so obsessed with the history and maintaining history. So I'm even just happy in these places during the day with a broom, whatever, and not even like looking around to feel anything. But even
that's why a lot of us are in this, because the historical part about because it goes hand in hand with paranormal.
And sometimes I like forget that I don't want to say like I forget about the care that I care about the paranormal part, but like usually I'm just like so thrilled to like get to be in these places and get to like be
Right.
part of it. And so even when we're there in a couple weeks with the paranormal tour in the evening, a lot of people are just going to be so thrilled to be there at night. I'm still excited when I get to run around there at night. So like I
I
already told
know. It never
like
gets old, right?
yeah, no, even because I was almost gonna have my own group and I'm gonna be with Pete Christ for mine. I was like, Pete, you are so much more familiar with the site. Like you have to lead the tour part. Like you have to be like the head of this.
Right.
I'm there with you, but like this is gonna be because they just want to like be in this space, be in this history. And really it's
Yeah.
not, if we experience something that's amazing, but so many people, especially the first time they're someplace, they're just so it's just magic to be there.
It
And
is. It's a magical experience.
it
It is.
is like I get
A
so
little
like when
dark
I get to be
magic, but
someplace,
it's not a bad
yeah.
dark. It's a good dark.
And you feel like, and you do feel this. I mean, at least I do, you feel the spirits, you feel that there's something going on. You
Yeah.
feel,
Yep.
it's the reason, I laugh even after I spend the whole evening there. I laugh like if I have to go and get a light down at the end of somewhere, if I go by myself, I'm like, oh no, because like you feel it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
I
I
don't know if I
laugh at
want to do that.
myself. Like then I laugh at myself and I go do it, but I still laugh at myself because I'm scared,
You still
because
got that
you know.
anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Like what's gonna happen?
that you feel something there. You don't and
It's
and I
not
welcome it,
it's not
but
scary. It's more
yeah,
like you're like
it's like
anticipating what's gonna happen. Like, come on, just do it,
yeah,
you know?
it's like too
Don't
much.
caught me off guard, you know?
Yeah, like because then I know I'm gonna probably like scream and then I'll run or something because it'll just like it's just that like anxiety. Yeah, like fear is not the right word, but it feels like it. So it's an awesome feeling. And I think when people especially are brand new to that space, they really feel it. And that's what's so
Mhm.
cool. And to share that with people.
Yeah. Like
I love giving tours. Like I love being that person to share
mhm.
that with
I
people.
tell people, like, for those of you that do not believe in the paranormal that are here at this event, just try to open your mind. Because everyone has some type of like intuitive, some type of gift. If you block things out, you're just like trying to like block it out, you know, you don't
Mhm.
things won't happen. But if you open it, like, and you're rational about what you see or what happens, you'd be surprised. And like there's been times where like people come up to me after this and they're like, "Oh my god, this," because I'm like a type of person like when something happens, like I'm a skeptical. I'm like, that did not happen. Like for example, talking about the Railroad Museum, I saw during the day in the bathroom at the corner of my eye, like I see a shadow figure, all legs and arms, like a person. I'm like, what? And I'm like, that I did not see that. And then the lady, my friend of mine, is in front of me, and she's like, someone just ran their finger like this on me, and you can see the mark from her blush, like someone ran the finger. And I'm like, what? And I go in the bathroom because I'm not scared. I'm just like surprised. And I'm like, and I don't see anything in there. There's still light coming through the window. And I'm like, and then like the next day, I'm like, oh my, holy shit, that just really did happen. Like it takes me a while to process it. Like I'm like, I can't believe that happened. There's got to be an explanation. And I'm trying to
See,
find it and I can't.
and I'm obsessed with I like some sort of verification. So whether it's a piece of equipment that maybe like you have this
Do it
feeling and
again.
it does something,
Hmm.
or I keep talking about my friend Nikki. She's a little, less out there doing all the things on screen, but
Right.
she is definitely sensitive. So and so she's wonderful to have with because like
Nice.
I trust her, because like I can
Are you
see,
gifted
hear,
like that?
feel. I think she's a little better than I am at it a little. I think she trusts it and leans in a little bit, a lot more than I do. So I'll definitely like I trust when I say to her, like, you see something there, whatever. um I trust her when she answers. So like if I think I see something or think I feel something, I'll be like, do you too? And I don't think there's with her, I can trust her enough that there's no power of suggestion. Like she'll tell me no, or she'll be like, yep, this is what it is, and she can kind of see it better. Or
Uh-huh.
even we would feel, I never at night, I would always, and for tours, investigations at the prison, I would always wear pants, like always like leggings, always tight, but pants. And it's not because of bugs, which that's what I'll sometimes say to people because it's easier, but because you can feel like scratching along your legs. If you have the pants on, you don't
my
feel it.
girlfriend, she's a paranormal investigator on our team. I'm going to tell her that. She's done that sometimes. Maybe I should ask her, is that why you wear those?
Yeah, no. And so kind of, I didn't even realize I was doing it. Eventually I was like, oh, I'll just always wear pants. And it would always, and for some reason I always chose like thicker leggings, just leggings, but a little thicker. And I kind of didn't really realize why until I realized like, oh, like I would notice my legs would still be colder, but I would eventually, like I realized then I would wear shorts and I'd go, that's why, because you just feel like whatever's down there would be grabbing at your legs. And so I said to Nikki one day, I was like, they grab our legs, right? And she goes, yeah.
Well, I'm from Florida, so I'm t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops all the way.
Yeah, no, I would always
Unless I'm going out to the woods.
Even if it would be a tank top, and I know it, and eventually at night it gets a little cooler, so it's reasonable up here to wear pants, but like, no, shorts would get too like, bleh, you would just be like, ugh, no, thank you after a while. So yeah, that's a thing. Like, ask her if that's why she wears pants, because they like to touch you.
It was funny because that one room that I was telling you about, it was in officers' quarters, and they like to touch women.
Yeah.
So my friend Erin, I don't know if you know her. She's a writer and she does events. It's called Hauntings Across America. She's from Chicago.
Sounds
in
familiar.
Illinois. Erin Ignatz.
That sounds super familiar.
Yeah, check out Hauntings Across America. She came to write a story and she couldn't have picked a more perfect night because we were having a tropical disturbance, not a hurricane, not a tropical storm, but just enough to where you get the feeder bands, but it's not that bad. So there were some points where like wind and rain was just going sideways to these hangars. That's where they store the trains. So we believe that the changes in the barometric pressure and the atmosphere just amps up the activity. So that night, not only did I see the shadow figure and she had a finger run across her cheek, later that night she was like groped. She had like someone like she could feel someone's fingers go from her knee and go up her thigh, and she was like, hell no. But she said out of all the places she's investigated across the US, like this is like on the top, like because the experience that she had. So now we're working on doing an event that will be advertising soon in September. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. So, and it's like, yeah, you don't want them feeling you up or anything. Like, no, thank you. But also,
well, some women are like, I welcome it. Like,
yeah, I don't.
It's funny. Like, we have, I don't know if you remember, it was season 1, episode 4 of Ghost Adventures. They did the Riddle House in West Palm Beach. We used to do. It used to be a former funeral parlor that they moved to this one location. And one of the cemetery workers was accused of stealing and hung himself in the 3rd floor attic. But some people say maybe he didn't hang himself. Maybe they taught him a lesson. So his name is Joseph, and he hates men, but he loves drinking and he loves a woman. So I'll tell people this when they walk into the house who Joseph is, and like every now and then, like we'll get some women like, "Hey, Joseph, you want to dance? You want some bourbon?" And like one time, I got an EVP. I played it back like right after that, and it was like exclamation point! Yes, yes, yes! It was crazy.
That's cute. No. So, and I love stuff like that. Like, yeah, I don't need them grabbing me. I don't need them whatever, but I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Be nice to me. That's all I want. Like a normal person, human being. You can pat me on the back. How about that?
I agree. Yeah.
Fist bump.
No, and I think at the prison, I don't even know if it was people grabbing. There was definitely, we'd get like pictures or, even feelings, or even some people that are a little bit more sensitive to like elementals. There's definitely, it's a
Yeah,
little
we had
bit
a
like
prison. People
impish,
got
like
punched and stuff.
I think it's a little bit more impish, like when it comes to grabbing our legs
Yeah,
rather than like a human grabbing our
it
legs.
just depends on the spirit, personality. You never know what you're going to get at what location,
Well,
right?
and some of these, I mean, not some of these, a lot of these, the earth goes back forever, right? So, like, there's certainly things that came before maybe the building too. So, and even talking about limestone, how it conducts, like you mentioned it. So, the prison being built out of limestone that's
And you're
quarried
by
right
the
next
lake.
door.
How far are you from the lake?
Uh, 30-ish
Lake
miles.
Superior, am I right?
Michigan.
Lake Michigan. Okay, I lived on
Superior's
Lake
way up
Erie.
there.
I used to live in Cleveland as a kid, right near the lake, walking
So, yeah,
distance.
that's further. So, no, we're on, so the lake's a little far, but we're along road that was Archer Avenue that like
Okay,
goes real far, but it's one of the old, Native American roads that just goes through. So there's a lot of hauntings like all along the road. And then we are
very
really
cool.
close to a river, so that we're like in a river valley.
We're gonna be besties, Kara. We're
I
gonna stay in
know.
touch.
We are, of course, anyway, because
We're
I have
already
to come to
besties.
Florida for January. We are besties.
Exactly. We're almost
Natalie's
like.
watching this and she's so excited.
Well, I told Shannon and Michelle we are.
Who is my actual bestie. I love her so much.
We're all cousins here. We're all
Yeah, no,
family. We're
that's
all
why
related.
I'm going out to
Paraflixx family.
Connecticut, because I was like, wait a second. If I fly into LaGuardia, you will pick me up and we will spend the whole weekend together and be in Connecticut together. And that's the excuse to get to
Very cool.
hang out again, because we had to hang out in Wisconsin.
Don't let it get in the way of your school, okay?
It is
trying to
not.
sound like your mom or dad.
No, so I'm going,
Good.
I'm actually going, it's during the next class I'm going. No, it's my master's. Like, it's fine. I got time.
All right.
It's fine. I'm over halfway through. It's fine.
There you go. And
yeah.
Did you tell me you were going to the Rock Island Roadhouse Paragon?
I am not going. No.
Oh man.
Mm-mm.
Everyone from Paraflixx is going to be there.
I know. No, I never.
Change your mind.
No, I never make it down. Like, it's become the tradition that there's always something else going on, and it's not even on purpose. Like,
yeah.
It's just the accidental tradition. So yeah, no, I know it's going to be very Paraflixx centric, but I will not.
So everyone that's watching or listening, go follow Kara on Paraflixx Into the Obscure. She has amazing guests, by the way. And Kara, tell people where they can find you, anything that's upcoming, any events, any excitement.
Let's see. So
always
you can
excitement.
follow me. Yeah, there's always. You could follow me at Kara Phillip on Facebook. I will admit, because I'm from a certain generation, I'm a little better at Facebook than other platforms. But Instagram and TikTok are both Kara Phillip Official. You might probably find more about my plants growing on some of these places than about ghosts. A little bit more just about life, probably day to day. And you can follow Into the Obscure on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And then, of course, follow Paraflixx. Our stuff definitely shared. Upcoming events, so in a couple weeks, we get to have an event at the I think it's like the old jail / sheriff's house, the old jail in Crown Point.
Nice.
It's a kind of Dillinger centered event, because that's where Dillinger was and then later escaped from.
It's funny that you said that, because where the Riddle houses that I was telling you about, they have a bunch of historical buildings that was moved from one location to here, and they refurbished them. John Dillinger has his hunting cabin there.
So see, it all connects. It's it's like Al Capone up here. Everything has touched
Al Capone down here. He's been everywhere down here.
I'm telling you. So this is a joke with me and Nick Simons, because like, if you pay attention, everyone will be like, oh, Al Capone did. So like, the joke is like, oh, Al Capone made this mouse, because like he did. Of course he did. He was here. So it's just everybody like says Al Capone did everything. So that's our joke. But so You can find me talking about Dillinger
He's
in
been
a
at Rock
couple weeks.
Island.
I know that's kind of how the joke started. That was where it started. And then, well, actually, no, it started in Sheboygan is where we started this joke. And then it went down to Rock Island. Al Capone, I've been to his grave. It's close to where I live. For real, not even a
I would do
joke.
that.
So, and he was moved from another place. Al
Really?
Capone always comes up. So, okay, so 2 weeks from now, I'll be talking about Dillinger, not Al Capone, in Crown
Very cool.
Point for an event. And you can also follow me at History Alive. So that's our show that we are working on. So it'll kind of be History Alive-ish. A bunch of us will be there for this event. I am going to be at the Paracon in Connecticut, Waterbury, Connecticut on July like 11th and 12th. So I'm super excited about that. And I'm so excited to meet so many people in person because so many of us don't get to meet people in person. We just talk to them all the time. And when we see them in person, it feels just like old best friends.
Exactly.
Before that, I'm going to be attending, not part of, but like you can find me and other really cool people again at Crown Point at the Sheriff's House. Bree Hollingshead and Nick Carboni and Tim Coomer are having an event together there also. So you have to be at that jail May 31st and then again on June 14th.
I'm buying my ticket.
I know, like for real. And then in the middle of that, geez, I got to go in order. June 7th, Paranormal Chicago, a group run by Jack Chavez. He has his Paracon in Countryside, Illinois. It'll be June 7th. That happens every year, and it's fantastic. Like 90 vendors, I think. It might be 70, it might be 90, but I think it's 90. And it's just like a really cool event. And
I need to talk to you off there
a
about
whole
that
variety
one.
of people. Like I'm obsessed with like going to this. And I love Jack. And then we're going to fast forward because then I'm going to be a little busy in school. And then November, like
Spooky
into
season.
November. Yeah. Like Sunrower spooky season. So like all through spooky season, anything goes. Who knows what's going to happen, but I will definitely be at some local haunted houses for sure. But I don't know what other events. And then towards the end of November, I'm going to be at Days of the Dead Chicago. So watch out for that.
Cool.
Too.
I saw pictures of that. That looked like it's going to be very cool.
So there's like, they do like a paranormal experience now, and it's so cool to get to be part of it.
Is it more like a horror con?
So it's like a horror con. So this one that just happened over the weekend is the All Monsters Attack one. And that's like the Godzilla, like all of that kind of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were there. You know, it's that kind of, so it's a little different, but Days of the Dead, like November is going to be back to, it's like the horror con. So you'll see the Terrifier people. And so it's so cool and different than a Paracon. Like there's so much more color and it's bright and it's louder and it's like crowded. Like it's a whole different vibe. So the
like
first
Disney.
one we went to, like the first one I went to, I was like, oh my God, there is so much happening. Like it was like overwhelming. And now I love it, but I still get to have my paranormal besties all around. So I still get to have all the coolest people right by me. But so this one, Paraflixx will be there. So Natalie will be there. So I can't wait to hang out with her. So I'll get to see her at least 2 times this year. So I'm really excited.
Very cool. All right. So, and then for us, War Party Paranormal, you can find, they can find you where?
Me?
Yeah, I flashed up your links. All the social media.
I mean, just all the social media. So Facebook, Kara Phillip.
Number 1.
Yeah, that's number 1. Instagram, I'm very bad at answering things. But Instagram and TikTok. Instagram's pretty much all the same stuff as Facebook. TikTok might be a little different. But Kara Phillip official for those 2. And then I'll share all the Into the Obscure stuff and all the Paraflixx stuff.
Okay. And then for me, if you want to follow me, all my social media stuff is Ghost Hunters South Florida. And then our team, War Party Paranormal, everything's linked to warpartyparanormal.com. And we're actually having an interactive event for anyone who wants to come visit Florida or anyone who's local. It's going to be at the Old Davie Schoolhouse. And it's not only the school, but they have 2 pioneer homes that are probably more active than the school that was moved to this location and restored. And Kara, one of them was like from the early 1900s. It was ordered from a Sears catalog and shipped down to Florida. And it like cost them like $3,000 to build it.
That's
How
crazy. I
crazy is
love
that?
those old Sears homes. Like they're cool
Yeah,
houses too. Like they're
very
cool.
cool. The attic's super active. Actually, our last episode on the Haunted Files is the Beely house, one of those houses. And Natalie like watched the video and she's like, "Oh my God, I got to go there with Patty because I feel so connected to that house. Like
That's awesome.
the energy and the spirits there is just incredible. Anywhere from like children to like some smart ass dude, the very sarcastic. But yeah, so that's going to be May 30th, and I didn't say March, May
I
30th,
love it.
Friday. And also, we're going to be at the Gettysburg Bash. That's, I believe, July 26th.
Maybe.
And then we're going to be in Savannah, Georgia. And I think
Ugh,
that's like August 27th at the Savannah Theater Macabre Synopsis. The Synopsis? Might be mixing up the word.
I mean, it's a real word.
Okay, so that's what I think it is because I said it wrong last time. Not
Symposium?
synopsis, symposium. That's
Yeah,
what
I
it
was
is.
like, I don't think you mean to have like a
Symposium.
summary of the event,
The
but like
macabre.
maybe
I'll make a show and it'll be like a whole summary of it. How about
it'll be
that?
the synopsis of the symposium.
Exactly. So yeah, it's going to be at the haunted Savannah Theater, super haunted, right in the heart of
That's
Savannah.
awesome.
You want to check that out. And then in October, we'll be at Rock Island, Illinois, at the Rock Island Symposium. It's not paranormal. It's not the Paragon anymore. It's Symposium.
Is
Roadhouse
it a
Symposium.
symposium? Oh.
Yep.
Oh, and I think, is it in November? Early November, there is in Fort Wayne. It's another symposium. That's what we think of it. It's
They're all
another,
changing to Symposium
yeah,
now. I don't know
it's
why.
another like Brie and Nick thing. So I'll be in
Okay.
Fort Wayne probably like in early November. So see, I'm staying relatively local, doing good with school, not going crazy. And then maybe everybody talk to Natalie. Maybe I'll go to Florida
Yes.
in
We'll definitely
January.
plan that. Yep.
We'll see, because that sounds really cool.
Yep. That'll be in the works. I just don't know how to do it because, like you, I got a job. I got the Haunted Files. I got the radio show.
It's too much, but also it's great. But it's so much.
Yeah. And I'm also run the War Party Paranormal team. So yeah, I just try to do my best, and I have to be a dad and all that crazy stuff.
Yeah,
good boyfriend. So I do
it's
my best with
tough. Like,
that.
no, it's
Gotta keep my
hard.
woman happy.
Yeah, no, like
So
it's a lot. It's a lot, like to do
yeah,
all of the things.
but you
And
know
I
what?
wouldn't have it any other way. I love
I
it,
think if
but
I
like
had
it's a
one
lot.
or two things, I'd be bored.
I would
What
be.
the heck would I do with myself, right?
No, every time life slows down like a little pinch, like literally I am trying to be so mindful because I'm taking this session off of school just to take a little school break and just to like be able to do the fun stuff. I have
Mhm.
to keep telling myself like whatever I commit to could only be like short-term commitments because I love to get like a little bored or a little not overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I should take on this next large long-term commitment. I should do that because I'm
Yeah.
a little bit not overwhelmed right now. And I'm learning, don't do that because that's crazy. And that's how you drive yourself,
Don't do
mad.
too much. Just do just enough.
Like just enough. So I'm
Yeah.
doing like a lot of during this like 7-8 weeks, whatever, a lot of like little trips or little, being in more shows, like stuff like
Mhm.
that, or like having more weekend commitments, but these are not permanent lifelong commitments.
Well, I would love to have you come back with Rob next
That would
time
be, oh my
on the
God.
show.
Yeah, that
I
would
would
be
love
so
that.
fun. We would love it.
All right. Well, Kara, thank you so much. I
Thank
had so much
you.
fun talking to you.
Me
I
too.
know we're gonna run. Our paths are gonna cross.
They will. Yeah.
I
I
know
mean,
they
like you're
will
just a
for
little
sure.
south. I'm just a little north, but eventually they will.
Yeah, we'll definitely meet up sometime. We're gonna get you down to South Florida. I promise.
That sounds cool.
And I want to thank everyone who's watching the show or listening. And don't forget to subscribe, like, do all the crazy things that everyone tells you to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's effortless. Right, Kara?
Just
And I
click.
appreciate it. It's like, that's like my goal. Like, anyway. So, anyway, everyone have a good night. and I'm looking for the outro because I don't normally handle the outro. Now I'm ready. Good night, everybody.
Night.
All right. I think I did it. I ended it.
It looks good.
I think I got a slight
Are we
delay.
still live?
Wait, outro and